Life in Toastmasters all over the world has changed dramatically in this time of coronavirus. But as Sun Tzu said 2,500 years ago, in the midst of chaos there is also opportunity. Let's look at it. Go back to the basic question, what need does Toastmasters fill? The most basic need, the reason we were founded, is to improve public speaking skills, composing a speech, and learning the delivery mechanics, such things as choice of words, vocal variety, body language, gestures, eye contact, inflection, visual aids, all of the tricks that are best learned with practice, and we provide the opportunity to practice them. The other thing that we do is socialize. Toastmasters are a unique bunch of people. We're very social. We're people who are headed toward success in our individual lives, and we're drawn toward other people who are successful and interested in success. We enjoy each other's company, and we often get married. I did. Now, some of these needs are somewhat diminished with online meetings, from an already fairly small base, actually. We don't need quite the same sort of leadership skills because the meetings are online, they're a little bit easier to set up, and likewise the management skills. I'll speak as the treasurer of our club. Now that people are paying me electronically, it's a little bit easier than when I had to deal with cash. But all in all, it doesn't make too much of a difference in the management of a club. We're using online meeting software. Our club uses Zoom. And it works. The webcam works for my giving speeches. You can see me when I'm talking. And you can switch to share screen to see my PowerPoints. So everything is there that you need for a presentation. A couple things it doesn't do quite so well, doesn't handle live action stuff like panel discussions and debates quite as well because you can't switch from speaker to speaker to speaker quite as quickly. So there are little breaks and it's not as smooth. But by and large, the Zoom medium, the online medium works. So there are some things that are lost and diminished. Eye contact isn't the same. I can't look at you the same. 25 faces on a screen, nope, not the same. I don't get the same sort of feel as a speaker because I don't get real-time audience feedback. I can look at your screen faces, but it's not the same. The big thing we miss is socializing. We're a bunch of people who like each other. We have after parties as part of our regular meetings so we can socialize. That we can do it online, but it's not the same, as you Facebook fans know. And lastly, the intensity of engagement is less. Now, I have to concede that in our regular meetings, we'd have people sitting there fiddling with their cell phones, with their smartphones, and ignoring the speaker, but not too many. Now it's in epidemic. You see people disappear from the group every now and again to go get a cup of coffee or to check their email or this or that. People are just not as fully engaged. But that's an acceptable downside because there are some advantages. First of all, logistics. We get the meeting itself over with without all the travel time to and from. And distance is no object. In our last meeting, we had a former president, now living in London, and her husband. It was great having them. There aren't any worries about the meeting place. Our club has had to move about every 2 years since its founding, just because restaurants close, this or that. Nope, online's going to be there. Some smaller advantages, a speech can be pre-recorded because there is no real-time feedback, no interaction with the audience. It doesn't have to be given in real time. You can record it And you can also send it to an evaluator, so that evaluator has something more substantial to work with. They can really give you some useful feedback, if that's what you want. And lastly, audiovisual equipment is no issue. Toastmasters Pathways pretends to teach you about blogging and this and that piece of software. With this, we're all using online software. We're in it using the software, and we don't have to worry about it further. There are some benefits to online meetings. First of all, we can meet more frequently. No reason that you can't have a second meeting in the middle of the week for an hour or two, just people that want to get together. There are people who are remote, can't meet on the weekends, and there are Toastmasters junkie who will be glad to come to a couple meetings a week. Smaller meetings, which would be a byproduct of having more of them, are a little bit more manageable. Actually, with 30 or 35 people in a Zoom meeting and an online meeting, some people are left out in the edges. If you have smaller meetings, that's not so much of a problem. Everybody gets to participate in table topics. It's easier to get on the agenda. Lastly, as I said before, members can attend from far away. We in Ukraine have former members down in Ghana, in Germany, in Poland, and London, as I said. They can all join us if they want. Now, after the quarantine, my bet is that things are going to change for the whole world. Education's certainly going to change, and for Toastmasters, likewise. We will resume our normal meetings with face-to-face because we love each other, we love meeting face-to-face, and it's really best to give a speech before a live audience. That's really what it's all about. But it doesn't have to always be a live audience. We can continue likewise with the online meetings to satisfy the road warriors and the Toastmasters junkies and distant members who would like to participate in our club but aren't with us in Kiev. We can then focus on face-to-face meetings, doing the essential in face-to-face meetings. Some meetings are highly interactive, like debates and panel discussions, as I discussed. Those work in a live setting, so we could spend more time on those. We can also do things that we used to do well: picnics, dances, speech contests, other social occasions that have to be live and where we meet one another. So if we take a little bit of the pressure off, the pressure on the agenda by letting people speak in an online meeting, then we can do other stuff. It requires that we be there. So my bottom line is that quarantine, the shutdown, is a harsh jolt to Toastmasters like everybody else, but never let a crisis go to waste. It gives us an opportunity to serve new members. Members far away, road warriors who can't make a weekend meeting. We can meet more often if we want to. We can discreetly ditch the disastrous Toastmasters or Pathways program, which wasn't working for us anyhow. This gives us a great excuse. Notice how countries are using all sorts of excuses to do things they wanted to do anyhow. Because leadership and management really are even more peripheral now, and we didn't ask for it in the first place. So let's just skip it and get back to public speaking, which is what the Toastmasters organization is all about. So use this as a fig leaf to cover a bad decision for Toastmasters Pathways, and let's get back to what we do well, what we love to do, public speaking.